Okay. It's from the office, yes.
Take that back. Let me ask a couple questions about it. Does that appear to be a true and accurate copy of the communications Westfield Dental had with Emily Noble, specifically May 22nd, 2020, through a couple days later in May 2020?
Yes, I recognize whenever we text a patient, it comes up with our initials as to who was part of the conversation, and two of the people's names on there. I recognize the initials.
And is this a true and accurate copy of the records of those communications?
Yes, sir.
And is it also an accurate copy of what was provided to Westfield Police Department at the time?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, this time I'd ask to publish State Exhibit 9 of the jury.
All right. Such is noted.
Are you able to see that okay? So, ma'am, for the record, I'm showing you the bottom of the first page of State Exhibit 9. Is there a message there at 5/22/2020?
Yes.
And can you tell us what that is?
Hi, can I schedule a cleaning?
And
And
was
that
that
comes from
coming
Emily.
from the business or from someone else?
No, it comes from Emily because you can tell it's got her name up.
Your Honor, it calls for speculation that it comes from Emily.
She can discuss what is on the screen, but beyond that, just what's on the screen.
Are you,
It came from her phone because it's got her name on it. It's linked with our computer system. So through EagleSoft, whatever cell phone number is underneath that patient's name is what shows up on there.
and so that's generated by your system based on what you have as a phone number for the patient?
Yes.
Okay. And so the initial conversation about this cleaning was not initiated by the dentist office. It was initiated by
Objection is deleted.
Leading.
who initiated the initial conversation?
She did because the previous text was just telling patients that we were closed due to COVID and all that, and then we were going to be reopening and all that. So she initiated that conversation because there isn't a text before it stating, "Can I get you scheduled?"
Okay. Is there then a response from the business?
Yes. We always ask, is there a good day or a good time? So that way we can kind of narrow down what they're looking for.
And what was the response that was received?
She's very flexible. The next 2 weeks, what do you need filled?
And did Westfield Dental have anything available at that time?
We did not. Our next available opening wasn't until July.
And was there further conversation then about scheduling a dentist appointment for July the 10th?
So yes, she ended up taking the July appointment that we did have, but she does ask if she could be put on our cancellation list, which a lot of patients do.
And
We get it sooner.
Is that what I think you said sooner earlier?
Is what we call it. It's a sooner. So that way, whenever patients, like I said, get scheduled out, they'll ask if you get any cancellations, please give us a call. And we have a whole list generated for that. But she's verbally asking for that in the text.
Now showing you page 3 of the exhibit. Is that the discussion you're saying that I'll take 8:15 a.m.?
The 8:15 on the previous one was the appointment in July.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she
That's-
took an 8:15 in July.
And so as a result of that initial conversation, she was going to be scheduled for July 10th at 8:15 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Did the business then reach back out shortly after that?
We did. We ended up getting a cancellation that Wednesday, the 27th, at the 8 a.m. appointment, and her name popped up as, well, one of the girls had the conversation earlier, so she thought right away, oh, I talked to Emily.
Objection, Your Honor, as to what someone else thought.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
The gentleman, the answer is inadmissible, so please disregard that response. Next question.
I want you to talk about what other people said or did. I just
Okay.
want you to talk about what the business did as a result of these communications. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there communication from the business back to Emily Noble about a cancellation?
Yes, sir.
And when was that for?
That was for Wednesday, May 27th at 8 a.m.
And did the patient then indicate that they would accept that date and time as an appointment?
Yes.
Now showing you the top of page 4 of the exhibit. Was there a communication then that date and time was being put into your system as when the appointment was going to occur?
Yes.
And then there's an message there from May 24th, 2020. Can you tell us what that is?
Wishing her a happy birthday.
And how does that happen from your system?
It's automated through the computer system. It can read off of the EagleSoft system that we have as our dental software, and then it just texts patients whenever their birthday pops up.
And then finally, this next message comes on to the second page. Was there another automated message sent out by your system?
Yes, it's the one that happens right before the appointment, just as another reminder, and then we also are reminding patients to wear masks due to COVID.
And so that you had some type of COVID
Automated.
restrictions going on at the time?
Yes.
One more. I have no further questions this time. Thank you.
Cross, please.
Good morning, Diane Menashe on behalf of Matt Moore. Showing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 9, just so we have a frame of reference here. Would you agree with me that the blue bubbles, if you will, are coming from Westerville Dental?
Yes, ma'am.
And none of the text messages have your name on them, correct?
No, ma'am.
So you're just the office manager that pulled these text messages?
Yes.
I noticed, though, that you didn't pull all the text messages. Like, for instance, this begins cut off with March 27th of 2020. So this is actually an incomplete record of the communications between the office and Emily. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
But I do note, since we're just talking about color, so if there's a blue text message, then we know by definition that Emily's text messages, or rather text messages coming from a number that says Emily Noble, would be white. Is that right?
Yes.
So we have up here, not included in your records pull, a blue bubble. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes.
From March 27th, 2020. And it appears there's no response to that. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a blue bubble, no response from Emily. Blue bubble on April 6th, 2020. Is that right?
Yes.
And, it seems the next white bubble from Emily is May 22nd of 2020. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes.
So there is no response to the 4/6/2020 text message for how many days?
Well, close to a little over a month.
So a month would be May 6th, and then 6/22. So we've got about 6 weeks later,
Okay.
you get a text from her, right?
That's pretty standard, yes.
Standard. And are you, tell me when you talk about standard, you have a whole policy at your office with respect to cancellations?
Yes.
Okay. And when you talk to standard, I assume there's no one in your office that kind of is measuring metrics, right? As to what individual persons do with respect to communications, right? There's no data like that.
No.
Okay. So then I want to go to the second page that you were asked about. 5/22, there's a white bubble from phone number Emily Noble. Would you agree?
Yes.
And then a blue bubble and a white bubble, correct?
Yes.
And then let's go to page we can, of the state's exhibit. 22, where you're wishing her a happy birthday. I'm sorry, 524. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, and after the green bubble is another green bubble?
Yes.
No white bubble.
No.
And Emily Noble, is it your testimony was a patient there for about a year?
Roughly about a year. She'd
And
been in for a couple of cleanings.
a couple cleanings in a year?
Yes.
And the text messages that you pulled on the behalf of the state of Ohio begin on March 27th. Is that right?
That it shows there.
Yeah.
I didn't go any further back because we were dealing with the situation that took place of her starting to ask for a cleaning. That's why I didn't go
When
any
you
further
say-
back.
and let me ask you this. When you say you were dealing with the situation, and I'm sorry, tell me if I'm wrong, you're the office manager, but you're not law enforcement, is that correct?
No.
One last question for you, just a common sense question. Would you expect someone that was of the mental mindset to kill themselves to cancel a dental appointment in
Objection, Your
advance
Honor.
of doing that?
Objection, speculation.
Move to withdraw. Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
You be right.
Why did you specifically pull only this set of messages to provide to law enforcement?
Because we were dealing with the appointment that was scheduled that day. I guess I didn't pull back further because we weren't dealing with something that happened 3 months ago. We send text messages out to patients all the time and they don't always respond. But I only pulled it from the date because that's what we were dealing with at that time.
So all of the communications that related to that specific appointment that was scheduled and missed is what was pulled and provided.
Yes, sir.
So any part of the record that's quote-unquote
Your
incomplete
Honor, leaving?
is,
I haven't heard all the question yet, but rephrase your question, Riley.
is there any part of this record that is quote-unquote incomplete with regard to the communication about this specific appointment?
No, sir. The dates show the previous in March. It had nothing to do with May.
All right. I have no further questions. Thank you.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. You folks have any questions you'd like to ask this witness? Okay, I don't see any responses, so I don't think we have any questions. Is that fair to say at this point? Okay, thank you. You may step down. Thank you. Call your next witness.
The state would call Jessica Selfridge.